Hey guys, it's Charles Austin here with Liquid Blue Cabarete in Cabarete, Dominican Republic. And finally, here in my hands, I got an SK8. It is the 850, and this is a foil I've been talking about in a couple videos actually. As once it was announced and it was getting closer to the release date, I was getting excited, and now finally I've had it here on the island for a few weeks. I have it in the holder that it comes in. But if you're in the wing foiling world and you're on the intermediate or advanced side of the sport, you have probably heard something about this foil because it's been making noise, and it's been making noise for a good reason. Let me just get this right here. It's a little bit blowing. It's blowing probably 15, 20 knots behind me. But in any case, here I got the 850 SK8. It's a super small foil, as you can tell. This is stock as it comes with the extra short fuselage that is actually a monoblock. So this is a 180 stab basically, and it all comes together. So this is something that's new that is supposed to help with maintaining rigidity throughout the entire foil, so that when you're carving, when you're popping, when you're jumping out of the water, whatever it might be, there's less points where it's flexing. And before, this used to be 3 pieces together, and now it's just 2. So who knows if in the future this is all gonna be just one whole piece. Might make sense. But then again, that's gonna limit a little bit of the customizability of it. But in any case, for now, they have essentially done it again. This is an amazing foil. I myself am now going down in weight. I'm 169 pounds as of recording this video. And I was testing this even when I was 175. I'm slowly trying to make my way down to 155, 160 pounds, which maybe in another video I'll explain why I'm doing that. It has to do with health, but it also has to do with water sports and even land sports. But basically, as you can tell, this foil is small. There's nothing in terms of fences in the front or any sort of special winglets on the foil. It's relatively, if you look at it, a simple design. And in simplicity, there is a lot of things that are happening there, where you're getting a foil that is just well balanced and works. And the reason why I was mentioning my weight is because this is an 850. So when this whole line came out, the biggest size they have is 1050, then it goes down to 950, 850, 750, and I believe even there's a 650 and maybe even a 550. But it goes down from there, and I'm more familiar with the bigger sizes because I myself was riding a 7 Seas 1200 as well as an Eagle 990 and also the Phantom 1280. I also was riding a 940 Phantom S, but in any case, what I found is that when I'm thinking about my 7 Seas 1200 and I'm thinking about the Eagle 990, I'm like, man, is 850 gonna be too small for me? Is it actually gonna work? And I'm someone that likes to have one setup that works for everything, ideally. I know it's impossible, I know it's hard, and there's pros and cons that come behind that, but basically, I've been very surprised with this foil. It is surprisingly lifty, I guess is maybe the word, where even in the lighter winds, which have been, let's say, around 13, 15 knots, I was able to get myself up out of the water with a 5.5 meter wing. And at first I was worried. I was like, man, can I even get this out of the water? Because with the 940 Phantom series, the Phantom S, I felt that I wanted like 18 knots of wind to get up and going. But here, in reality, even though this is an 850, I feel like it almost has the same, if not more, lift than the 940 Phantom S. So that's something that's interesting and is gonna be a note for people in the future who are considering this foil, that the sizing is a little bit different than what you're probably riding before. You can probably get away with something smaller, and you'd be surprised at what that translates to. Now when we're riding the waves here out in the reef, or we're doing some freestyle, or even just cruising, it is a blast essentially to have a bit of a smaller foil because you can get that speed, you have that maneuverability. This thing, sort of like what they were saying in video reviews that you might have seen if you've been looking into this foil, is that they say that when you go from one side and scoop over to the other side, let's say you're doing a carve or whatever it might be, with some other foils, when you bring it from this angle down to the middle, and then over. It was sort of like a 1, 2, 3 step process. But this foil, because of its shape, really just flows right through. So it's super sort of agile in that respect, that it just works essentially for what it's supposed to do, which is feel a bit like a skateboard and just be very nice, nimble, agile, but have enough performance where you can use it in a variety of conditions. And so far, this has been holding up in small waves, this has been holding up in big waves, this has been holding up in freestyle, and this has been holding up in just free riding around. So now, just so you know, this is the stock version. You can start customizing the stab or the monoblock stabilizer into having a longer one or a shorter one, and what that's going to affect is essentially the pumpability as well as the maneuverability to a certain extent. And there's a bunch of different now monoblocks that have come out which can help you further customize it, but I want to test it out stock to know what I'm getting into. And basically, I'm still using the 85 HM carbon mast, the 85, and it's been working out great. So this foil, I'm just gonna put it down right here. But to explain, the people that are looking now into upgrading their foil, let's say this season or this coming year, this is a great contender because it is so versatile. And it's honestly to the point where now we have a 950 and a 1050 coming. It's on its way, so I still don't have it yet. In my mind, after testing this foil in a variety of conditions, I'm very curious to see how the 950 is gonna perform, because I believe that's gonna be the foil for me. I'm someone that likes to be overpowered. I don't mind working, but I would like to have the equipment sort of work with me and not have to hustle all the time, let's say. And you'll see maybe in some of the videos that we post, like sometimes I'm working the wing and whatever it might be because it's lighter days or using smaller gear. And it's nice to use the smallest gear, but also be comfortable where you don't burn yourself out trying to get up and out of the water, or you don't burn yourself up because the foil doesn't have enough lift to be pumping through waves and connecting waves and things like that. I still haven't tested it prone foiling. That's gonna be another sort of video that I'm gonna have to do, because I'm gonna be curious to see how that works in the small waves and in the big waves. I can imagine that in medium, big waves, this is gonna be a beast, but I don't know how it's gonna perform in the smaller waves, which is something to see. But in any case, what we're gonna be adding to this video, this is mid-July, well not mid-July, sorry, beginning of July. And as you can tell, we have maybe now 150, 200 people out there right behind me. And it's around 2:30, 3 p.m. So the wind has been cranking. It's the perfect time of the year to be trying this foil. Wintertime for us is lighter winds. Summer times is this type of wind. Relatively flat conditions, even though there's a little bit of waves out there. Can't see it from this angle, but a little bit of waves, and just windy all day. So this is gonna be going on until sunset, essentially. Yesterday I was out until 7 p.m. But this foil is truly a great foil for intermediate, advanced riders. And when you're learning, when you're beginning, it's just like in kiteboarding and in wing foiling and even surfing, you use bigger equipment that you're eventually gonna outgrow. And once you start outgrowing the gear, then you can start getting smaller gear. And in this case, if you have the chance to try out an SK8, even if you're on that beginner but you're going into that intermediate side, if you want to ride waves, if you want to do freestyle, if you just want a foil that is in reality very dynamic, because it can pump well, it does have good speed, you can jump it, you can ride waves. So there's nothing really that this foil cannot do other than maybe in this specific size, do light wind riding. But that's just because of my size. And maybe for someone who's smaller, this is a foil that they can use in light winds. But for myself, this foil can probably do everything except ultra light wind, even though I haven't tested that out yet. But once winter comes around, I'm gonna have to test it, in the sense that we'll have some lighter sessions where maybe I'll have to go out with this 850 and use a 6 meter or a 7 meter in 12 knots, 13 knots. But I haven't tested that out yet, but I have been in 13 plus. I use a 5.5, I use a 5 meter, use a 4.5, use a 4.0, and was able to get riding. Today, in the footage you're gonna see in this video, I will be using a 4.5 strike as well. This is the V3. I might be using a V2. I'm still back-to-back testing them, but I'm gonna be using a 4.5. I weigh 169 pounds on a 44 liter board with an 85 mast. So that pretty much gives you an idea that this foil, you can really size it down compared to other ones. Like I said, what I came from before this foil was a 1200 7Cs and also a 990 Eagle, which are way bigger foils. But this one has really held its weight and pulled through, and I'm very surprised and actually happy. And now I'm just looking forward to getting the other sizes to further test it. But like I said, if you're intermediate advanced, then this is the foil to go to. I wouldn't look any further. It's complete. It is honestly just to put it nicely, it's a beast. And let me just get this in right here. It's a beast that I would recommend to anyone that is in that field of freestyle wave riding and just wants to have fun and something that they can rely on. And like I said, in terms of the rigidity, you can definitely tell that when you push through a pump, it really just accelerates. And it's something that I felt it in other foils, but here it's just very predictable. And once you get the hang of it, it's just the best. So without further ado, guys, I'm gonna leave you with a view of Cabarete. This was just a quick review of the SK8 in the 850 size, though I will in the future have the 950 and the 1050 for Cabarete. I don't think it makes any sense for us to get even the smaller ones. You know, we have very rare days that are over 25, 30 knots, but if you're in a spot that's 25, 30 knots plus, they do come in the right sizes for those conditions, or if you're a lighter rider. But in any case, if you're considering this foil, definitely consider getting it. It's amazing, and I'd recommend it to a friend, and I'd recommend it to you. So that's that. Enjoy the view, and remember, if you're ever coming down to Cabarete, summertime is a great time, as well as winter, but now it's summer, so I'll mention summer. And as you can tell, all the kites out there, windsurfers, kiters, wing foilers, so it's a blast. But all right, guys, I'll leave you with the view.